Hello all, welcome to C programming. Now we shall have a discussion about dynamic initialization of a two-dimensional array. So here we have taken a two-dimensional array and we'll check how we can store the values dynamically. So here in this program, here we have declared a two-dimensional array. Next, this part corresponds to dynamically storing the elements of array. Dynamically storing elements of array. Okay. Dynamically storing elements of array. And after this part so this whole part it displays the content of array, the content of array. So now we shall see the output and then try to trace the program to understand it. Okay. It is asking us to enter the elements of the array. So I will enter elements of the array. Let us assume 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. 70, 80, 90. Okay. So now just let us execute. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Now I will press enter. Okay. So this is what we are getting output. This is the output that we are getting. Now let us see how to get this output. Let us see how to get this output with the help of this program. Okay. Now when I say integer a 3, so here memory for a will be allocated. How many blocks of memory? 9 blocks of memory. So totally our array has 3 rows and 3 columns Okay. So next, what is the message? Enter the elements of the array. So the same message is being displayed here. Enter the elements of the matrix or element of matrix. So now I'll enter the elements 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So how it is storing the elements into the array? We shall try to trace it. So we have taken an integer variable called as I. Okay, I. So there is an integer variable called as I. So I, and there is also an integer variable called as J. Okay. One integer variable I, another integer variable J. So here first time I is initialized to 0. After that I is being compared with 3. So I is initialized to 0. Next 0 is less than 3. Yes, the condition is true. So I'll enter into the body of the for loop. So the body of the for loop, it begins from here and it ends here. So this is part of the first for loop. So after entering here, again there is a j which is being initialized to 0. So j will be initialized to 0. J will be compared with 3. So the content of j is 0. 0 is less than 3. Yes, it is true. Now inside one more for loop is there, right? So its body is this statement. So what does this statement do? This statement, it reads a integer from the keyboard and it stores it somewhere. Where is it somewhere? Address of a of ij. So this ampersand indicates at the address of A of ij. So what is A of ij? The value of I is 0. The value of j is 0. So it means it will read an integer from the keyboard, and where it will store? At A of 0, 0. So at A of 0, 0, what will be read? The first integer that we are entering from the keyboard. So which is the first integer that we are entering from the keyboard? 10. So this 10 will come, and where it will be stored? It will be stored here. Next, after this, what happens? The control will go from, after executing this statement, the control will go to what? J++. So the value of j will become 1. Previously it was 0, now it will become 1. From here, again it will come here. So after coming here, again it will verify whether 1 is less than 3, the condition is true. I will execute this scanf statement. I will read the second integer from the keyboard and store it in the address of A of ij. So the value of I is 0, the value of j is 1. So 0, 1. So the next integer which I will read from the keyboard, that is 20. So where it will be stored? It will be stored in A of 0, 1. So 20 will be stored here. 20 will be stored here. Now next you should tell me, where does the control go after executing this scanf statement? After executing the scanf statement, again the control will go to j++. So again the value of j we have 1. What happens? This 1 will be overwritten, so it will become 2. So after that, where the control will go? It will come here. So j is less than 3. So what is the new content of j here? It is 2. So whether 2 is less than 3, the condition is true. It will enter the body of the for loop. So in the body of the for loop, we have again scanf statement. What happens? %d. A third integer will be read from the keyboard, and where it will be stored? A of ij. Address of A of ij. A of ij. But what is I? I is 0. J, it is 2. It means the new integer which I will read from the keyboard, that is value 30. So where I have to store? I have to store at A of 02. So this 30 will be stored at A of 02. Now where the control will go? So again the control will go to j++. So the value of j, it is 2, it will become 3. It will become 3. Now what happens? Again the control will go here. So 3 is less than 3. Whether this statement is true? 3 is less than 3. This condition fails. So we know whenever the condition for loop fails, we'll come out of the for loop. So from this point, where we'll come? Directly we'll come to this point. Okay, as this condition has failed, we'll come to this point. But there are no statements to execute. So from here, where I'll go? So I'll go to I++. I++. So what is the content of I? 0. 0. So this 0 will become 1. From here, again I'll come here. I is less than 3. So this 1 is less than 3. Condition is true. So again I'll enter the body of this for loop. So again I'll come to this for loop. Now j, it will again become 0. So now what is the value present in j? It is 3. Now again it will become it will become 0. So what does it indicate? It means when the j value has become 0, 1, 2, when it became 3, it means we have completed the reading of the first row elements. Now we want to read the elements of the second row. So that's why j has become again 0 and I has become 1. It means now in the subsequent step, what we'll be doing? We'll be reading the elements of the second row. So the elements of the second row, how it will proceed? So now value of I is 1, the value of j is 0. So here we are. So whether 0 is less than 3, yes, the condition is true, I'll get inside. So what happens? I'll read an element from the keyboard, that is 40 will be read. Where the 40 will be stored? Address of A of I. What is I? 1. What is j? 0. So A of 10 is this point. So here what will be stored? This 40 which I am reading from the keyboard, it will come here. Next, again like the previous iteration, Again I'll go to j plus plus. Again it will become true. 1 less than 3 will become true. I'll read the next element. I'll store 50 here. j will become now again 2. So again I'll enter here. 2 is less than 3, so I'll store 60. So after that again j will become 3. This condition will fail. Again I'll come out. Again I'll go to I plus plus. So when I do go for I plus plus, so here it will be replaced by 2. It means now I'll be reading the third elements, the third row elements. So here I'll read the elements of the third row. What happens here? So 70 will be stored here, 80 will be stored here, and 90 will be stored here. So after storing 90, the value of j will become 3. This condition will fail. Next will come here. The value of I will also become I will also become 3. So this condition will also fail. So when this condition fails, we'll come to this point. It means we have completed the operation of reading the elements from the keyboard. So next what we will see, we will be displaying the elements of, we'll be displaying these elements. Okay, we'll be displaying these elements. Okay, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So these are the elements which we have read. So after that, okay, here we are printing the elements that we have read. Okay, so here what happens, again the same for loop. So already we know in A what is stored. Ten, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So already reading we have seen. Now what happens? We'll see how it will produce the output. So for I is equal to 0, again I will be initialized to 0, j will be, okay, I is less than 3, yes, 0 is less than 3, I'll get inside. So j is equal to 0, so j will be initialized to 0. So 0 is less than 3, this is true, I'll get inside. Printf, so whatever is there at a of ij, so value of I is 0, value of j is 0. So whatever is there is at a of 0, 0, that will be displayed on the monitor. So this is what we are seeing. So 10 will be displayed, whatever is present at a of 0, 0. So this will be displayed here. After this where the control will go. So if you look here, we have a backslash t here, but when we were reading, in case of scanf, we had not used backslash t, but here a backslash t is there. Why? Because between 10 and 20, to create some gap, otherwise the output does not look pleasing. So in order to make it pleasing, we want a gap. So that's why we have used backslash t. So it will leave a space which is equivalent to tab. Okay, equivalent to tab. So in this fashion, what happens? The value of j will become 1, and next I'll display 20 here. Next value of j will become 2, I'll display 30. After that, value of j will become 3. When it becomes 3, this condition will fail. So when this condition fails, I'll come out and I'll go to I plus plus. The value of I will become the value of I will become 1. So when it becomes 1, again 1 is less than 3, again I'll get inside. So what happens? Again this whole process repeats. So in the next iteration, 40 will be displayed from here, 50 will be displayed, 60 will be displayed, 70, 80 and 90 and so on. Okay. In this fashion, dynamic initialization of a two-dimensional array takes place. So in the next class, we will be looking about the other examples of array. So subscribe to our channel for further updates. Thank you.